Hi, I'm R.G. Skadberg, attorney with CCSK Law.
You're at your first job, or you're at a new job, and suddenly there's piles of forms coming at you, and there's things being talked about like health insurance coverage and retirement plans and hopefully pensions and things of that nature. In the mix of those forms, you are going to be asked who you want to name as a beneficiary. A beneficiary is the person that would be the recipient of the proceeds of some payout, whether it's a 401 investment that you've made, or a life insurance policy, or the accumulation from a pension that didn't get completely paid out. It is a contractual agreement that you are making to say this person will receive, or these people will receive, a payment from these structures. It's important to understand that those are contracts with the person or the entity that you sign. So you sign a life insurance policy and say, I want my parents to be my beneficiaries because at this point I don't have a significant other enough that I would want a life insurance policy to be paid to. Let's say you do that with your first job. 20 years from now, if you don't keep that beneficiary structure updated, now you do have a wife, you have kids, you have other people in your life that you would want that money to go to. It doesn't matter what you want to do, or even whatever estate planning you may have done, that is a contract with that life insurance company, and they're going to pay to the person that you named way back when even. There are a number of stories as I've talked to people over time where maybe they graduated from high school and they went out and they started working in the mill, and maybe they had that high school sweetheart that they were in a relationship with right after graduation, and they work at the mill for a while and then they change. But at the time when they started that job, they filled out all their beneficiary forms to include that significant other. But now we're 20 years later. We have a different significant other. We have children, and something happens to you. Unfortunately, the beneficiary on that original contract is going to get that payout, and it can be substantial, and it can make a big difference in your current family's life that you would much prefer that money to go to them. So it's important to understand not just what beneficiaries are, but you revisit them every now and then. You're going to run into beneficiaries on 401s or IRAs or other retirement type of proceed. Life insurance is certainly one. On occasion, I've run into circumstances where someone will leave that blank, or they'll pay it to their estate. That's a strategy, but it's not my favorite. It's much better to come up with a person or persons that you would want to receive that. If you leave it to your estate, you're going to cause that money to go through a separate process with a whole nother separate idea of how it's going to be eventually paid out. It may be paid out to creditors or other things that you didn't necessarily want it to be paid out to, when you can name a specific person. Now, you can't name your dog. It has to be an actual person, or it could be a charity, if you don't have a person. But make sure that you know that you filled out the beneficiary forms properly, that you check on them on a regular basis, especially if you change jobs or you have a life-changing event and you want to go back and make sure that those things are properly represented. One thing that often happens when we talk about beneficiaries, someone will do a will or a trust, and they'll name certain beneficiaries in that planning. But in the life insurance, they've named other beneficiaries. The assumption by the person who's done the plan over their will or trust, they assume that the life insurance will come through the trust and will go that way. Again, the name on the beneficiary form is going to be what drives the direction that money goes. So don't forget about forms and beneficiaries out there and old life insurance policies and retirement plans, because they can be substantial, and you want to make sure that they go to the members of your family or friends that you want them to be paid to.
Be happy to help you. I don't charge for an initial consultation. If you just want to have some questions answered to understand what your options might be, give us a call, 219-230-3600, and you can also visit our website, ccsklaw.com.